Hi folks, how you doing? It's James JT at the movies, back again in the car for another 5-minute films. Last week, my girlfriend Laura and I and some good friends of ours, Louise and Phil, went to the cinemas to see the newest and long-awaited entry to the MCU, the solo Black Widow film. Obviously starring Scarlett Johansson in the title character that she's played for the last 10 years, and supported this time by Ray Winston, David Harbour, Florence Pugh and Rachel Weisz. My thoughts on this film: it was okay. This was, to me, a run-of-the-mill Marvel film. It was sort of along the same sort of lines of, your Iron Man 2 or Doctor Strange or, the first Thor film or the first Captain America film. It really wasn't top tier, and, that's a real disappointment for me, because this character really deserved more than that, and Scarlett Johansson's put in an absolutely fantastic performance in this film, but also in all the subsequent appearances that she's made as a supporting character. And I really think that there was such a wealth of a backstory that could be explored there, that it just felt a little bit watered down and a little bit sort of like she got overshadowed in her own movie, really. Florence Pugh plays Yelena, who's going to be the successor to the Black Widow mantle, I think, going forward in the MCU. And the film really did feel like more of a setup and an introduction of her character than it did, Scarlett Johansson's sort of swan song encore performance of the character. The plot itself is fairly sort of run of the mill. It felt sort of like they had like the scenes in it where it's sort of like bad guy shows you, grand plan on a big board, and sort of has the stock footage on a computer sort of thing, and that's the MacGuffin that needs sort of taking care of, and the stakes weren't all that high, and it just felt like, I say, very very run of the mill to me, which just is such a shame, because I think that the character should have had more than that and deserved more than that. The performances were really, really good. Like I say, Florence Pugh is the one that steals the show for me. She plays Yelena, another Black Widow, who has been raised alongside Natasha, sort of as like a surrogate sister sort of thing. They grew up working for, obviously, the Red Room, which is the agency that trains these young ladies to be Black Widows, and they were placed in a sort of a surrogate family with David Harbour's character Red Guardian and Rachel Weisz's character Melina, and then it's about sort of like the whole getting the band back together to bring down the Red Room. And Ray Winston plays a character called Dracoff, who's the sort of the general, the evil guy behind the Red Room. And it feels very influenced by James Bond as this film. They don't make that sort of sort of a secret, really. There's the scene where she's watching Moonraker, and there are scenes that sort of evokes things that have gone on in the Daniel Craig movies, and little bits and bobs like that, the sort of thing, and spy movies in general. Did I like it? Yes, I enjoyed it. Will I watch it again? Definitely will watch it again. But I just didn't think that it was anything sort of special, really. I thought that, like I say, Florence Pugh was the highlight of the film. The villain was in that sort of forgettable territory, really. Ray Winston really didn't pack much of a punch as the villain, and for what the character is set up to have done in the film and all the exposition we get about him, when he's on screen he should be somebody that you love to hate, and he's just somebody that you don't really care either way about. I liked some of the comic relief that David Harbour's character brought to it. He really was sort of like goofy dad, and he's sort of like a former superhero in this, and he's telling lots of tall tales about things that don't really quite add up, and he's gone a little bit crazy in the sort of the context of the film. And I think he really works and plays quite well off of the character of Melina, again played by Rachel Weisz. She's great in anything that she turns up in, isn't she, really? And like I say, it's just a shame because Scarlett Johansson's almost a little bit overshadowed in her own film. She is absolutely fantastic as the character of Black Widow, but I just think it should have been a much stronger film for a much stronger character. Would I recommend seeing this film? I would say that I would recommend seeing this film. I would say see it in the cinemas as well, to help give the cinemas the boost that they need at the moment to recover after the last sort of 12-18 months that we've been going through, of course, if you feel safe to. If not, you can stream it for a premium on Disney+. But I would recommend watching this film, and obviously making sure that it gets its due, sort of thing. It's a nice little sort of footnote to her story, if you like, and wraps a few loose ends up after obviously the characters end in Endgame. it doesn't really leave it open for any more stories or anything like that without going too much into spoiler territory. But like I say, does sort of set up the Yelena character as somebody that will be able to carry that mantle going forward. So there we are, folks. That's been my quick thoughts on Black Widow. Overall, I did enjoy it, but it is a missed opportunity, I would say. If you've liked this video, leave me a thumbs up. Leave me your comments on the films and the MCU as well down below in the comments. I always love to have a natter and a read through your comments. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please think about subscribing, and then that way, obviously, we can keep in touch for further videos. Above all else, folks, take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.